Hey, do you want to make the best beef Wellington that you've ever had, or you just want to watch someone else make it? Stay tuned, because this is amazing. Roll the credits. So welcome to beautiful Vancouver Island. This is where I'm spending my winter. What a terrible place to be. Really, it's horrible. So today we're making beef Wellington. It's a classic. And I know Christmas is coming up, or it will be when I'm filming this. If you really want to have a bit of a different kind of Christmas dinner apart from your normal old turkey, try this out. It'll wow everybody, and it is so delicious. We're taking a classic recipe that's had many different incarnations over the past sort of 100 or so years, but we're putting our own little twist and spin on it. We're mixing in black truffle into our duxelles, which wrapped around the beef fillet, and let's talk about that beef fillet. We're using Wagyu beef. It's amazingly beautiful, so tender, so full of flavor. You've got to try it if you can. Obviously, if you don't have Wagyu beef, just use whatever good quality beef fillet that you can and treat yourself this Christmas, or whenever you just want to make this for a treat. This recipe, while looking very daunting, isn't really all that complicated. There's a couple of tricky bits that you need to pay attention to, but apart from that, it's actually pretty straightforward. It looks daunting, but it's not that bad of a dish to make. So just follow it step by step and you will be a legend. And please, if you could, hit the like and subscribe button and comment down below. I know every content creator asks the same thing, but it's kind of important for us, so everybody wants to get monetized so we can do this sort of thing full time, because this is what I love doing, and I love creating dishes and trying new things and teaching people. So please, if you could, do all those wonderful things, and let's get started. Okay, so let's start. Here's our Wagyu fillet. As you can see, I have a few of them as I'm actually preparing these for my guests tonight. Wagyu is a really wonderful quality beef. It comes in different grades with different marbling. Obviously, this is not one of those outrageously marbled fillets, which honestly wouldn't work so well in a dish like this. Let's put that to one side and start preparing our mushroom duxelle, which is a finely chopped mushroom sauteed with shallots or onions and garlic in this case, until they have let go of most of their moisture. You can chop these finely by hand, but a good old food processor will do this in a jiffy, so blitz them up until they look like this. Next, you're going to want to saute them in a really hot pan with some vegetable oil, so keep them cooking, stirring frequently to dry them out and release a lot of their moisture. And then you can add your finely chopped shallots and onions, in this case, as I mentioned, with garlic. Turn the heat down a bit to medium-high. We don't add them earlier because they'll burn or overcook. You can add some seasoning now to help draw out the moisture, but just keep stirring and mixing and make sure it doesn't catch and burn. They will start to get thick and almost paste-like. Once we are done, we're going to add in a jar of this black summer truffle paste. If you happen to have fresh black truffles, please use them. They are wonderful, but if you don't, this stuff is great. Try to avoid truffle oils. They can be really obnoxious in the wrong hands. If you want to, you can use another fancy mushroom like porcini, which also comes in jars of porcini paste. Those are really nice products and would totally add a lovely level of flavor to this dish. Mix them in and then spread them flat in a tray and cool in your fridge or a freezer even, if you have one big enough that it won't really affect the overall temperature inside. Okay, next let's get started on this Wagyu. Now you're going to want to make sure your Wagyu fillets are nicely trimmed up and an even thickness all the way around. Place them on a small tray. You want to give them a really good seasoning, plenty of nice sea salt and fresh black pepper. Make sure you coat each side really well. Don't be afraid of using salt with a slab of meat this big. I always see people under-seasoning their roasts. Once you've done one side, roll your fillet over and make sure you've covered every little part of the outside of the fillet. And once you've done that, give it a good roll around on the tray that you're using to make sure that you've scooped up all those seasonings. Now get a good solid pan and get it stinking hot and add a fair bit of vegetable oil. Don't use olive oil. We want that pan screaming hot and olive oil will burn. We're going to saute each side of the fillets quickly and get a nice brown color to bring out that Maillard reaction and give it flavor. We don't want to cook the meat, just brown it quickly. You can see I'm using the edge of the pan, tipping it to get as much surface area done at once. These little things make a big difference, so keep going until they're done and don't forget to sear the ends. Now as soon as they are ready, place them on your tray and brush them with mustard. I like Dijon, but you can use English mustard if that's your bag, but I think Dijon goes slightly better. Then pop your tray in the fridge. You'll see I cut down the larger fillet here into 2 smaller ones. I did this to make it more manageable and consistent. Next, get some cling film and lay out some prosciutto or Parma ham out to wrap around the fillet. This is crucial to act as a barrier to stop our pastry from getting soggy. Classically, crepes have been used to do the same thing. You need to make sure you have enough to fully wrap around the fillet. Once that is done, we're going to add our layer of duxelle. It should be nice and cold now and easy to work with. I find it works well to layer it on and then smooth it out evenly with my hands. It's important here to get it nice and even so the final presentation looks awesome. You'll get a nice even layer. If you have too much, you can always trim some away. Okay, now, important step. Place your fillet and carefully roll it up in the prosciutto and duxelle using your cling film to help keep it all in place. Okay, now don't panic, don't rush the step. If it isn't looking right, stop, regroup, and get it even. Once you've got it all the way around, tuck in that last bit of prosciutto at the top and get it nice and tight. Then roll it, making sure it's as tight as you can get it. If you need more cling film, layer out a nice clean sheet. Again, don't panic or rush, this is an important step. Once you're happy that it's nice and tight, pinch the ends and start rolling your Wellington, like I am, to get it super tight. Now pop this bad boy in the fridge and we will get our pastry out to encase all of this goodness. Lay out your puff pastry. You can make it, but honestly a good quality bought one is perfectly fine. Even if it is a bit short like mine, overlap it and make sure you have enough to encase your Wellington evenly. You can always trim it later. Again, don't panic and don't rush. Let's get this done right. This is an important step. Use the cling film again to help get it wrapped up nicely. Trim off any excess pastry, pinch off the ends, then again, we are going to want to get it as tight as possible, using our cling film to help roll it. Once it's nice and tight again, pinch the ends and roll it so we have a nice tight Wellington. If you feel it isn't tight enough, unwrap the cling film and do it again and get it tighter. There's nothing wrong with that. Here are a few individual ones I made, which is the same process basically, but you're covering the steak top and bottom. I had a few guests with dietary requirements. When you're ready to bake, brush with egg yolk. Make sure you cover all exposed areas nicely and consistently. You can decorate your Wellington, but you really don't have to unless you're presenting at the table, which I probably wouldn't want to do, but hey, do what works for you. Sprinkle on some sea salt and pop it in the oven at 395 degrees Fahrenheit or around 200 degrees Celsius. These Wellingtons are done when the internal temperature reads the desired temperature you want. Full details will be on my website, but you really want to have a digital thermometer for this step, otherwise you're guessing. Medium rare is between 135 and 145 degrees Fahrenheit, but make sure you cook it 5 degrees under as it will continue to cook. Let it rest for about 30 minutes, and then it's done. Well, that was a bit of an epic adventure making beef Wellington. I haven't made beef Wellington in years, and I'm so privileged that I've got to use such amazing ingredients. Wagyu tenderloin, ridiculous. Black truffle, ridiculous. Very opulent, beautiful stuff. And what can I say? The results speak for themselves. If you use good ingredients, you get an amazing result. As is quite typical, I've served everybody else. A couple of guys walked in late, but they didn't want to miss out, so I just served them as well. I know I cooked these perfectly. They were absolutely perfectly rare when they came out of the oven, but it came out of the oven about an hour and a quarter ago. So it's usually the way chefs eat last, and you get what's left over. But I'm not complaining. My beef still looks nice and medium, so but let's give it a try. Honestly wish I'd had it when it was rare, but I'm not complaining. This is just melt in your mouth. Incredible, next level beef. Beef Wellington, total classic. This is one of the most opulent versions that I've had. The truffles are earthy, the pancetta is salty, and then you've got perfect plum puree and asparagus that goes with it. It's just heaven on a plate. I'm so totally chuffed with today. It's not often that I look at something that I've made and I've got a beautiful big smile on my face, because I usually go, oh, I could have done that better, I could have improved on that, but like, I did a pretty damn good job on these ones, so I'm pretty happy, and I'll be going to bed with a smile on my face. Job well done. Hey, look, thank you so much for watching, and please hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you guys here next time. So enjoy, and I hope you guys get a chance to make this. Just get the best ingredients that you can afford and get on with it. All right, love you lots. Take care. Subscribe.